What subject is this? This is
English.
This is English class.
This is English class.
Sapale. This is English class.
English class.
No, Tiksa.
Tiksa. What is your name?
My name is Kumar.
What is my name?
Your name is JimiSir.
Jimmy and I have been best friends since freshman year in college. 2 years ago, Jimmy joined the Peace Corps in Nepal. We kept in touch by writing letters back and forth. Jimmy tried to share his experiences in Nepal with me in his letters. I found Jimmy's letters describing Melung intriguing, but I really couldn't understand what it meant to Jimmy to live in a small Nepali village for 2 years. When Jimmy invited me to spend 6 weeks with him in Melung, I jumped at the chance. I decided to bring along my videotape gear so that I could share what I learned with you. Nepal sits between India's fertile lowlands, called the Terai, and China's barren Tibetan plateau. Nepal contains a large part of the Himalayan mountain range, including Mt Everest. The capital city is called Kathmandu. Kathmandu has modernized a lot in the last 30 years, but the rest of the country has a long way to catch up. Nepal's geographic and self-imposed isolation have left it one of the least developed nations on Earth. Since it opened its borders to the outside world in the early 50s, it has accepted foreign aid from many nations that recognize its strategic importance as a buffer between India and China. Getting to Kathmandu from Boston was straightforward, but getting from Kathmandu to Melung is not easy for someone like me who can't speak the native language. I was glad that Jimmy had the time to travel into Kathmandu to meet me at the bus station.
Come on, Claude, man. Let's go. This is the bus.
I asked Jimmy why he had left Boston to join the Peace Corps.
I studied computer science at MIT, and then I worked as an engineer. But something was missing. I wanted to complete my education. I wanted to learn more about myself, establish goals, set priorities. I wanted to see what was going on in the third world. Africa, Asia, South America. I wanted to learn what quote development was all about, and I wanted to help out. Do my part. And Peace Corps just seemed like the best way to go about it.
Ugh, what a hassle, huh?
What do? I just put my stuff up there also?
Yeah, I think you can nail it. I know. Uta afele rakna saksa ni. If you want to do it yourself, it's up to you. That's what these guys are here for. La, chorne ho. Bistari chorne ho. Ugh! You're gonna die here. Hey, we got these seats, these two right behind the driver, okay?
Most Nepalis live more than a day's walk from the nearest road. Once they get to a road, they can afford to buy a bus ticket. Even though Melung is only 45 miles from Kathmandu, it'll take us 2 days to get there. 1 day by bus and 1 day on foot. Although the roads are carefully built, landslides still happen.
Not such a big one. They just fell today. They'll have it done a little while. We might have to wait though. It's kind of funny because the rain stopped a week or two ago. Just have to wait. Patience. Now the Chinese built this road. This is one of the better roads in Nepal right here. This road goes to Lhasa, to Tibet. Tibetan capital. Keep going, you come right to Beijing. They don't want you to sort of just fill in a role as another teacher in the school. What they want you to do is bring sort of media into the curriculum. They want you to show teaching techniques besides just standing up and lecturing in front of the class. And that's the idea behind the Peace Corps education program.
Okay, this is Melung. The Chinese road goes that way, north, up to the border. We go this way, west, east, into the mountain. Whoa! Hang on. Okay, we're gonna stop here. Probably stop here for something to eat. I can use something to drink. I'm pretty thirsty. I don't know if we can get Coke here or not, though. Yeah.
Ready?
I'm really thirsty. Here, want some?
We stayed overnight in the village of Busti, where the road crosses the Kosi River. The next morning, I asked Jimi what he missed most when he first arrived in Melung. He answered me as we started the 6-hour walk down the Kosi to Melung.
I need friends. A big part of when I was in the village, I was trying to make friends. I'm trying to get into the culture, trying to sort of, not imitate Nepali culture, but sort of try and, you know, relate to people. That's my, I need to relate to people. Melung functions pretty well. I mean, it's got a decent local government, things get done, there's a lot of development going on there. And it wasn't clear to me for a long time whether I wanted to tamper with that at all. Because I thought it would sort of spoil or jeopardize my position in the village as just another teacher. Which is what it sort of come to pass within the limitations of my whiteness and my strangeness, whatever, all those aspects. But as time went on, I started feeling like I wanted to have more impact because I was going to leave. So I started getting into these projects.
Melung's inhabitants live on the land they cultivate and are evenly spread out over 10 square miles on a ridge that rises 4,000 feet above the Kosi River. Everyone is a farmer, including the Pradhan Panch, Melung's mayor. One of the first high schools in Nepal was established here 30 years ago. Melung's fertile soil has made this community of 10,000 one of the wealthiest in Nepal. Halfway up the ridge, we stop to rest.
So from here, when it's clear, you can see from Tibet, because you can see past the main Himalaya range is a space. So you can see from Tibet, and there's one more ridge past the far ridge over there, and then it's the Terai. So you can see almost from China to the Terai from up on this mountain. Up higher, you have to be a little bit higher.
As we continued up the ridge, Jimi told me of his first trip to Melung.
Came out to Melung by myself. People asked me who I was, where I was going, and I told them I was going to Melung, that I was a Peace Corps volunteer, and they introduced me to one boy who was coming to Melung that day, and he took me here. But he went by this high trail, which you can see here. It was much harder. I was carrying a very heavy pack, and he had nothing. It's much harder than the low trail, which we came on this time. I sort of stayed in this police post because there wasn't any place to stay, and no one wanted to feed me, no one had a place to stay. I was feeling like, wow, like really insecure. And then the Pradhan Panch and a bunch of people walked up the hill like the second day, and then I went and stayed at Pradhan Panch's house for a few days and worked on finding myself a place to live. I wanted to live alone but eat with a family. And one day we were walking by the health post, which is on the way between the bazaar and the Pradhan Panch's house, and I met Kumar. He was sort of directing the building of the health post at that time. It wasn't finished. There was no roof. And and he said, well, you can stay here. We're going to have this finished, in 2 weeks. And I was like, thinking, well, gee, I said, yeah, okay, great. This is a nice place, nice room. But I was wondering about whether it ever being finished. And actually, when I moved into my room, only that part of the roof was finished. There were parts that weren't finished.
Jimi, who are your best friends here in Melung?
Your friends develop where you are, right? So they would be Tapa, Kumar, and the teachers, being those are the places I've spent most of my time. in Melung. At Tapa's house eating, at the health post living, and at school teaching.
We're here. Great.
The rainy season ends in the middle of October, and during its last downpour, Jimmy and I talked about life in Nepal in his room at the health post.
Yeah, we gotta keep these wicks trimmed, otherwise the light won't burn evenly. And we won't get very bright light. Okay, now we've got the wicks cleaned. There's not too much kerosene in here. Really, it's not too much in here either, so it means a trip to the bazaar to buy some more. You know, no fuel delivery, no home delivery. Can't just call up the oil man and have him fill the tank. But then there's also what happens, I think, in Nepal, is since the people have tremendous patience, you know, tremendous ability to get from here to there, and climbing up the mountain with these great big loads, right? It tends to keep their focus local and narrow. Here, you concentrate on getting your load up the hill. The big thing you look towards is planting your rice, harvesting your rice, right? That's your focus. In the States, you don't have to worry about where the next meal is going to come from. Your focus is broader, right? You're expected to have a career. You know, everybody wants to get to the top of the corporate pyramid. You know, not only do they want to be, but they're sort of expected to be, because you have all this leverage. You know, here being a success is sort of having a smooth day-to-day life, right? Are your kids clean? Do you get sick? You know, does your rice grow right? Is your bicey healthy? Right? So that's sort of the focus. Because, and I think the main difference is, again, this question of leverage.
Jimmy told me that the Hindu festival of Tihar starts 3 days before the full moon. Tomorrow, after breakfast, we had been invited to a Brahmin farmhouse to attend a celebration. Every morning, Tapa sends his oldest son to wake Jimmy up before breakfast. Tapa's farm is 100 yards below the health post.
JimiSir लाई वहाँ हेल्प पोस्टमा गएर बोलाएर लिएर चाहिँ
JimiSir, hunting rope.
Hunter. What I'm doing is cleaning the charpy, or as I say in English, the latrine. Now, that might seem like a hassle, but really, I'm pretty lucky just to have a charpy. This is the only one in the village. This was built with Swiss assistance to go along with the health post. One of the projects I'm working on at the school is to build a UNICEF-funded charpy similar to this one.
The morning chores include a trip to the water tap, or Dara. The Dara was constructed by Tapa with Swiss funds and supervision. Plastic pipe brings spring water to a convenient location just above the health post. Tapa used surplus materials to tap into this Dara to provide running water in his farmyard, so that his wife doesn't have to walk up to this Dara every morning for water. Jimi, what are you doing?
Boiling some water. Because we have to purify the water around here. Because there's a sanitation problem.
Without any outhouses or latrines in Melung, people must defecate in the fields. The human feces that accumulates in the fields harbors all forms of human intestinal parasites. When rain washes the fields clean, the parasites find their way into the water supply.
Well, why doesn't everybody just boil their water? But, you know, if they used firewood for that, it would use up a tremendous amount of trees. And as you can see, there aren't that many trees. And there's pressure on the forests already. They use so much firewood just for cooking meals.
Since Nepalis don't have the means to purify their drinking water, many infants die from dehydration caused by intestinal infection. Parents in Melung can take their sick children to the health post, where a paramedic will administer drug treatment. Kumar was born and raised in Melung. He studied medicine in Kathmandu, and now he lives upstairs at the health post in the room next to Jimi's.
Oh, Kumar!
राम्रो हुन्छ
किन लगाउने नि ल
ल
लगाउने ल
ल ल ल ल त्यो अब डाक्टर जस्तो देखिन्छ
ड्रेसै
यो
छैन
डाक्टरको चिनो हो ल कस्तो छ
ल
ल मेरो कस्तो छ खै
ल
चल्छ कि चल्दैन मेरो मुटु
खै चल्दैन मर्छ के अरे चढाइ
मर्छ ओहो मेरो मुटु I wanted to have a strategic retreat, and the health post is perfect for that, right? Because I can just retreat into my room. And I need that less now, let's say, than I did then. But when I first came here, I felt it was really important for me. But at the same time, I wanted to have an in with the village. If I lived by myself and ate by myself, well, when am I going to relate to Nepalis, right? You know, how am I going to fit into the village? I'll be lonely. So I wanted to have a family that I could eat with, talk to, practice my Nepali with, you know, and see the Nepali life. I thought that was really important, that I eat with the family.
We sure did. Namaste.
In the village, the family is the most important thing, right? And people within the family generally trust each other. So the sense of trust is developed between us. You know? And now I feel really comfortable in his house. Originally, it was a little, well, I'd go there to eat and then I wouldn't stay very long. And now I feel like I can stay there as long as I want. I feel very comfortable there.
Hello?
Good? No?
While Tapa's wife prepares a meal of rice, lentils, and vegetables, Tapa dries the unmilled rice he has recently purchased. Like most people in Melung, Tapa owns just enough land to feed his own family. In order to feed Jimi, Tapa buys rice from a wealthy farmer. Jimi pays Tapa 60 cents a day for the rice. People eat 2 identical meals a day, one in the morning and one in the evening. The meal is boiled rice with side dishes of cooked lentils and boiled vegetables. A wealthy villager often has clarified butter, curd, or boiled milk with his meal. Everyone enjoys a glass of tea with sugar after eating. Goats and chickens are raised for their meat. Rice and lentils together provide a balanced protein source, so meat is not a necessary part of the diet. Goats and chickens are slaughtered only on special occasions. Tapa's wife cooks over an open fire in a corner of their mud and stone house. The open fire helps to warm the house during the cool fall and winter months. During the spring and summer, the smoke keeps the termites out of the wooden joists and rafters. Tapa's wife nurses her newborn son while we eat. The dot on the middle of the forehead is a daily Hindu ritual called Tika. It symbolizes the presence of the divine.
खाना कस्तो छ छोरी कस्तो छ खाना भात भात खाना मलाई तरकारी साग 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 ठीक-ठाक
As we eat, preparations are underway for our arrival at this Brahmin farmhouse, where we've been invited to attend a celebration. Hindu culture divides individuals into three main castes: the Brahmin priest caste, the Kshatriya warrior caste, and the trade castes. In ancient times, Hindu culture was passed orally from generation to generation by the Brahmin priest caste. Now, even though Hindu sacred literature is written in Sanskrit, the Brahmins still place great weight on the correct pronunciation and recitation of the texts. It takes over a quarter of an hour to recite only a few pages of this text. Ideally, every Hindu family sustains itself solely by farming the land it owns. Usually, only the Brahmin priest caste and the Kshatriya warrior caste own enough land to realize this ideal. The trade castes earn extra income as carpenters, blacksmiths, and tailors. This Brahmin just recited the traditional treatment of the cow. Hindu culture strictly forbids the slaughtering of cows. However, they keep cows to provide milk and fertilizer and to plow the fields. The Hindu festival of Tihar honors animals over a 5-day period. The third and most important day of the festival pays homage to the cow. This Brahmin's family now prepares the offerings it will make to its cows. This happens only once a year during the festival of Tihar, and Jimmy and I were invited to watch. We agreed to come at 9 o'clock.
Namaste. Namaste. So this is Krishna Muni. He's like a teacher at school, but he teaches the lower classes. But he can teach sort of all subjects. He's got a lot of respect because he's a very serious Brahmin. No. Pizza?
त्यो के
यो चाहिँ बत्ती बाल्ने बत्ती
Says that for us this must be strange. Here we have the rice, and this is sort of the central puja bowl. And you'll take the rice out of here and throw it all around. And then here's a little wick and some cooking oil. Light this little candle here. This is rice flour cooked in oil.
यो घाँस यो घाँस यो दुबो
Duho?
यो घाँस
So this is basically to feed to the cow and put some in here into the central bowl. And you noon ho. Okay, go ahead. These flowers are called malas. They're strung on a string and they put it on the necks of the cows. It's puja to the cows. It's it's worshipping the cows. So this is puja to the water goddess, but generally to all gods or goddesses, you talk to them through Ganesh. This is rice flour and besa, which is a spice, and mixed together with water, and then they put this, use this flour as a paintbrush, put it right on the forehead of the cow. This is
जसलाई भन्छ
Tika.
अक्षता टीका अक्षता
Right. This is to put on the forehead of the cow and then on their forehead. It's rice mixed with this red powder. त्यो रातो पितोलाई के भन्छ? रातो माटोलाई
अघि मेरो सिन्दुर
सिन्दुर.
सिन्दुर
That's like this red mud.
At the health post, women are passing by on their way to the weekly bazaar.
मैले बिदा गरेको कुमार सर हुनुहुन्छ
Jimmy prepares to go up the ridge to school. Classes will start at 10 o'clock.
Namaskar.
Most of the high school students and teachers live below the health post. They often walk up to school together. The teachers are natives of Melung and receive their university education in Kathmandu.
Hey, this is Taylor's house. Let's go in and
his family are.
see if I can get my button fixed.
हामी जाउँ
जाउँ के यता आऊ ल मेरो दाग के गर्ने दाग छैन दाग छ यहाँ छैन म त लिएर आउँछु त्यसो दिउँसो हुन्छ ल. So this guy's Damai caste, another trade caste. They play this traditional music at wedding processions and funerals and things. They're gonna show us some horns.
The Damai caste and all other trade castes are considered untouchable by the Brahmin and Kshatri castes. The trumpet is played without stopping to breathe, by using a mouthful of air while breathing in through the nose. Prem, the high school science teacher, is one of 2 people in Melung who ride a horse.
When you're walking up the hill and someone goes by on a horse, it makes you know, like, wow, that's what you need, you know, a horse.
The bazaar grounds are on the way to school. Many of the vegetables that Tapa's wife serves with her rice are available at the bazaar. Saag, radishes, potatoes, and a hot pepper called krisani. The school is right next to the bazaar.
Gotta sign in. So this is like the big sanctuary where you can get away from the kids, you know. The kids aren't allowed in. Where all the teachers hide out.
पोजिसन कालाको
राम्रो छैन.
कालाको पैसा राम्रो छैन
छैन.
छ मन्त्री छ अरे ओ म भन्नुभएको छ हाम्रो संस्कृति हो.
अनि
त्यहाँबाट सोधौँ त्यहाँबाट
यो मान्छेलाई हरियो मान्छेलाई
हरिओ भनेको हाम्रो धर्म देवतालाई.
अनि हरिओमा भन्नुपर्छ. अब हात डक्रियो अनि फेरि धर्म हुन्छ कि के हुन्छ.
हरिओम म जित्न पाऊँ भनेर प्रार्थना माग्ने.
पूजा गर्ने हो.
पूजा गर्ने यसरी
अनुरोध गर्ने.
फुल अस्ता पात लिएर चाहिँ मैले आज चाहिँ जित्न पाऊँ म.
तर मेरो विचारमा अब अलिक ढिलो भयो. पहिल्यै गर्नु पर्थ्यो. अब बाबुजीले पनि
Oh,
बाबाले पनि केही गर्न सक्दैन
The national anthem starts the school day.
Black Tihaar. Any money, sorry. Take the hood. For tribulations of teaching in the third one. What is Jonathan? Hunter? How many brothers?
How many brothers
And sisters?
and sisters
Do you have?
do you have?
Huh? एक चौथी पर.
I have 2 brothers and 3 sisters. I have 2 brothers and 5 sisters.
5 sisters. Sisters bana.
3 brothers and 1 sister. 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
2 sisters?
2 brothers
Yeah.
and 3 sisters.
Ah, 6.
4 brothers and 2 sisters. 5 brothers and 2 sisters. I have 2 brothers and 3 sisters.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
Mosa.
Oh.
I am 5.
I have.
I am.
I have.
I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters.
Between classes, Jimmy and I went up to the playing field. Jimmy explained to me that here in Melung, people provide for their old age care by turning over their farmland to their children. In the Hindu culture, women leave their own family to join their husband's family. To have someone stay at home, parents must have a son. The high mortality rate forces most parents to have 2 sons to make sure that one will live to take care of them. Even if every family stopped having children after they had 2 sons, the average family would have 4 children. Improving health care will increase the confidence of parents that a single son will survive to take care of them. Once parents feel confident having only 1 son, they still will need reliable birth control. In Melung, Swiss development workers have trained a half-dozen village women how to teach other village women to practice birth control more effectively. I asked Jimmy what impact this is having on the culture.
In Hindu culture, the ideal is an uneducated woman because then she'll stay in the family. She's not going to move away, right? She's controllable. So just the idea of even sending girls to school is sort of a new innovation. There are some girls who go to school in Melung. The idea of coming in and teaching women anything, especially women who are married, because they're supposed to be under the control of their husbands, and to actually take those women out of the family where they're supposed to be cutting grass, feeding the cows, cooking the food, taking care of the kids, and taking them out of the house, bringing them to the health post, and teaching them anything, bringing them together even, is a radical step. And then to pay those women to actually go out and perform a service and pay them 200 rupees a month, which may not seem like much, but a primary school teacher only makes 400 rupees a month. So when you face the birth control problem, you face the population problem, you always seem to cause, a real cultural disturbance.
Surrounded by people. How does it feel during? It's a real energy drain, Always it's like being in the center stage. You just get tired. You're tired just sitting here, It's like when I wrote back to Joe at the beginning. This is how it was in the beginning when I was by myself. It's not like this anymore. It's just because you're here. It's like being in a glass house, You can understand a little bit why celebrities are so paranoid of the press and everything. I mean, it'd be terrible to live without any privacy. यो त बिना लेख अब यो 1 लाई के गर्ने बराबर 1 माइनस हो 2 बाट पाइस बनाउनु पर्थ्यो हैन अनि कुन संख्यालाई गुणे 11 1 into 11 बराबर कति 11
One doesn't need much algebra to figure out that with at least 4 children in most families, the population is growing rapidly. Tapa feels the population pressure directly. Like most people in Melung, he now has to walk 2 miles from his farmhouse to cut firewood. Footpaths in Nepal have stone benches every half mile or so. These rest stops always have a scenic view. A pair of male and female peepal trees shade the bench. Travelers often meet at these rest stops. Fodder for goats, cows, and water buffalo is also harder to find. Women usually travel in small groups to cut and gather grass for their livestock. Meanwhile, back at the school,
this is the start of the UNICEF charpy I've been trying to build for the last 6 months. These guys are now leveling the ground, and when the ground is level, we'll start digging the pit holes. And over here we have the stones carried from the quarry, and once the pit hole is dug, we can start building the walls. Once the walls are done, we finish in time for my completion of service in December, which would be great. Now what I have done is acquired funds through Peace Corps Partnership Program in Washington to build a science lab in one of these new classrooms, specifically this one. With the money we have bought teaching aids, furniture, glassware, chemicals, just the basic things you need in a science laboratory.
when Jimi first started teaching science in Melung, he had to prepare his lessons at home and improvise experimental setups in a regular classroom.
हामी के पकाउँदैछौँ सर्वप्रथम के पितो अनि यो पितोले हामीलाई के काम गर्छ रोगबाट बचाउनलाई अनि के को रोग क्वेसियोरका भन अनि अर्को रासमस ल ठीक छ No, Raka. The bistari.
I asked Jimi how he felt about the science lab after it was finished and ready for use.
It's great. It's like so much easier to explain things to the students now, to explain scientific concepts to the students now that they have diagrams aboard, practical experiments that we can show.
Dos.
Yeah, bis.
Yeah, bis. Hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, 1 liter. Yo nahi ho.
Jimi had the science lab finished in the middle of November. After a week of use, Jimi went over the inventory with Prem and turned the keys over to the headmaster.
ल मैले 3 भन्छु अनि सुरु गरे सबैले एकैसाथ ल त्यो त आउँछ होला तिमीलाई हैन ल 1 2 3
Krishna Muni teaches Sanskrit for the same reasons that Latin is taught in our schools. In the 1600s, European scholars who first studied Sanskrit were struck by its similarity to Greek and Latin. They theorized that in ancient times, a single nomadic tribe migrated to various parts of Europe and Asia, spreading their language. In India, this language became known as Sanskrit. When the people of northern India migrated to Nepal, they brought with them their languages based on Sanskrit. These people make up 80% of Nepal's population. Nepali, the official national language, is a derivative of Sanskrit. The other 20% of the population is of Tibetan origin. During one of Jimi's free periods, I asked him how these two groups of different origin accommodated each other here in Nepal. Jimi pointed out that those of Tibetan origin generally practice Buddhism and live at altitudes greater than 5,000 feet. In Melung, the school and bazaar at a mile in altitude separate the two cultures. The Hindus, because they live in the lower, more easily irrigated areas, cultivate rice as their staple grain. They mill the rice by hand. The Buddhists live at higher altitudes where the ground is rockier and better suited to crops such as corn and wheat that don't require irrigation. The village of Chop, located in central Nepal at an altitude of 8,000 feet, sits below this Buddhist monastery. These prayer wheels sit in the middle of the main footpath through the village. The Buddhists always keep the prayer wheels to the right as they pass them by. In contrast to the Hindu tradition of chanting prayers, the Buddhists use prayer wheels. Spinning the prayer wheel is a way of saying the prayer written on the wheel. The cornfields have been harvested. The corn husks are drying in the sun, and the cobs are put away to dry. The kernels are pulled off the cob by hand, but unlike the Hindus who mill their rice by hand, the Buddhists often use water power to grind corn and wheat flour. With only a few days left in Melung, Jimi's largest concern is to finish as much of the latrine construction as possible before leaving. Jimi asked Tapa to help him build the steel-reinforced concrete squatting slabs.
And when I'm in the village, I need Tapa to compliment me. You know, my right-hand man in the village. He's my extension. So if he's not around, I'm not nearly as sort of functional as I am when he is around. So even though between Tapa and I there's a big difference in economic levels, there's still a really good synergy between us.
Although Tapa and Jimi were able to manage pouring the slab themselves, Jimi had to wait until he could get the help of all the teachers to move the quarter-ton finished product.
Sakupata tipera pani khau, sakupata tipera pani khau, avagito gajara jande tau, udlo himalma, butta bardai chu jali rumalma. बुट्टा भर्दैछु जाली रुमालमा
यो त छोडिसक्यो यो त पट्टि बर्बाद कुरा गरे बिस्तार लानु पर्छ ल ल ठीक छ त्यसमा राखौँ त्यो अब मिलाएर बिस्तारै राखौँ त यसमा हो पर भेट्नु ए म भेट्दै काट्छु
Jimi hired members of the trade castes to make doors and hinges.
These are special castes, like carpenters. They do all the carpenters that are low caste.
Even though they're low caste, they make a lot of money, you know? I mean, making money as a trade is sort of looked down on by the old Hindu culture.
So it's pretty amazing how they can like square this stuff up. Look at these boards. These boards are cut straight from trees, you know, and they just make these planks with just these few tools and a drop line, you know, and a square. They just build all this stuff, you know. It's pretty cool to watch.
हाम्रो कुरा बुझ्नु बुझ्दैन
I was thinking that it would have been really good if I'd taken basic building construction at school. You know, I knew a lot more about how to go about this. How's it look?
Jimi, it doesn't matter if one door frame is a little higher than the other. It's just a latrine.
Of course it does. This is the spiffiest building in town. This is my memorial.
This is as far as the construction had progressed on Jimi's last afternoon in Melung. He told me about the collages he got in the mail from the United States when he first arrived in Melung.
I remember I was really psyched when I got this in the mail. I'd just come back from my first visit to Melung before Christmas. And I'd come out just for a few days. And I felt really good to get back to Kathmandu. I felt a little bit lonely, you know. And then I got this in the mail. I was showing it to everybody. I was really psyched. See, the whole story. The life and good bad times of JP. It's great. It's really fun.
Kumar, Tapa, and Krishnamuni and some of the high school teachers chipped in to buy a goat. They planned an afternoon of festivities and a feast. A card game passed the time while they waited for Jimi to pack up his room.
So there I was in America, more or less. Could be however I wanted to be, you know. I have my job. I had my job. I was pretty successful at that. I had my friends and, you know, a lot of good friends. But you can sort of relate to them how you want. I mean, on your own terms. That's why they're your friends, right? That's sort of how it is in America. And you're shielded from everybody else in a way. You know, people don't say hi on the street. People don't expect. They expect you to be civil when you go to a store, right, and buy something. And when you meet people. But that's easy. It's all greased up. You know exactly what to say. You know, everybody knows. And the situations usually go really smoothly, automatically. And you just aren't confronted that often with the impression you're leaving on people. And then here, you come here and boom, you're like, your main task sort of here as a volunteer is being an ambassador to America, right? And that's a big job, you know, a tough job, and it involves relating to everybody in the village. All of a sudden, you come into the village and It's not like you just make a few friends and then you have your job. It's like everybody in the whole village wants to relate to you. You know? And it's a real strain.
Now you're going to die! Yes!
And I tried it, and it was just like, I barely dented the thing, you know? I mean, it didn't even cry out, it hardly drew blood. So. And that was the one I did was half this big. This is a huge coat.
Prem insisted that Jimi should not have to walk up to the school on his last day in Melung.
I didn't want to go out with a whimper, you know. I wanted to go out with a bang. Everything that we're doing here, the Charpy, the science lab, the movie, it's all sort of leading up to leaving.
Even though classes had been cancelled, the students gathered at the school to see Jimi off.
I could feel it. It's getting closer and closer to the deadline, more intense here, you know, and then it's just going to drop.
एकदम ताली सबैले पिट्ने है एकै साथ मिलाएर उतापट्टिबाट अगाडिबाट
Hey, hey. चिठीबाट सम्झिराख्ने
माया नमार्नुस् ल
नमार्नु
माया पनि नमार्ने फेरि आउने
ल नमस्कार ल त जिमी सर नराम्रो कुराहरूलाई छोडेर राम्रो सम्झना गरेर जानु होला है
Temperature still 5 degrees Celsius, 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
Feels like I just woke up from a dream. Have you guys ever heard of the Peace Corps?
No.
You don't know what that is?
No.
Have you ever heard of Nepal?
No.
Have you ever heard of India?
Yeah.
Have you heard of China?
Yeah.
Do you know about the mountains that separate those two countries?
No.
Have you ever heard of Mount Everest?
Yes.
What's Mount Everest?
That's a volcano.
The volcano?
Yeah.
Do you know where it is?
Huh?
Do you know where it is?
No. I heard of it.
Do you know where India is?
I know where India is.
Where?
In India. It's in this globe, the world.
It's in the world somewhere, huh?
Yeah.
Now just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a faithful ship that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailor man, the skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough. The tiny ship was tossed. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost. The ship set crown on the shore of this uncharted desert isle, with Gilligan, the skipper, the millionaire, and his wife, the movie star, the professor and Mary Ann, here on Gilligan's Isle. Now, this is the tale of our castaways. They're here for a long, long time. They'll have to make the best of things. It's an uphill climb.
No boat, no car, no motor car.
Not a single luxury, like Robinson Crusoe, as primitive as can be.
Awesome, that was awesome.
Ginger always, people always go for a tuna fishing tour in sequins dress.
So join us here each week, my friends. Sure you get a smile. But famines and it castaways here on Gilligan's Isle.
What other TV shows can we do?